Hello everybody, welcome along to FUTV Live. Tonight we have no fewer than 7 players that we need to update you on Manchester United's potential summer bonanza. Ins and outs, along with your live comments and everybody commenting afterwards. Let's get through all of the news from today. It was nice having a day off, pretty much anyway, with no news to talk about. The aftermath of last night was dealt with this morning. We've chilled, we've relaxed. Everybody's talking about their trips to Bilbao in a couple of weeks' time. It's just been a good day to be a United fan. The sun is out in Manchester. It's weekend already. Premier League games to play. Do we care? No, we really don't. We're just thinking ahead to that game on the 21st of May, aren't we? That is where Manchester United fans' heads are at. But after that, and the implications of that game, I'm sure I say this every single live stream, but if United win that, then hold on to your bleeding hats, because this transfer window is going to take off. I just said it at the top of the show, 7 players to update you on. I'm going to get into the news, first of all, that came out of Sky. You've seen it on your thumbnail. You've seen the targets. They're very familiar names. We just didn't expect Sky to come out with today and say that Manchester United want Cunha. We know this. Update on him, by the way. We also want Liam Delap. We know this because the Athletic and Romano and everybody else knows that Manchester United want Delap. But they want either Semenyo or Bryan Mbeumo from Brentford and Bournemouth respectively as well. One of them two. So tonight we're going to debate which one of them is actually the right player for Manchester United. This is pretty much what Sky have said. Manchester United want Cunha, they want Delap, and they want one other out of Bryan Mbeumo and Nelson Semenyo. That's Manchester United's front line and what we're going for. I'm going to be honest right now. I'm going to go straight out with this. If you were to ask me if I had to choose between Bryan Mbeumo and Semenyo, I would go with Semenyo. I like the raw power player. I like his directness. And look, Bryan Mbeumo, goal scoring record this season, fantastic. Hold up play, brilliant, strong, Premier League proven. He is everything that Manchester United lack. But just that raw power and pace is something different to what United haven't got in Semenyo. And just watching that man absolutely rinse Kyle Walker this season down at Bournemouth is enough to convince me. And then for him to continue his form throughout the rest of the season, he's been very, very consistent. A lot of people would say, Adam, you've got AFCON, you're going to lose a player for a month. Honestly, I don't think it really matters when you're looking at players like that of that quality. Manchester United are looking, like I said this morning, at trying to build a Premier League team here, a Premier League squad. The Champions League is great if we get it. Fantastic. Great to be in it. Manchester United should always be in that competition, but we don't stand a chance of winning that competition. We know we don't. So, what are Man United doing? They're building a team of Premier League proven players. We'll have a good old go. We'll get through the league phase. We'll get plenty of money from it. But the main thing for next season is stabilising and staying in the Champions League. And if you're buying the likes of Semenyo, Cunha, Delap, proven Premier League players, you can argue Delap if you want, but you know what I mean. Better than what we've got right now. And alongside Ahmad and Bruno in that attack already, Manchester United would be a different animal altogether. That's not where the spending finishes. We're going to get into more on what else is going on. But talk to me in the chat first of all. If you had to choose Bryan Mbeumo or Nelson Semenyo, who would you go with? When you look at the price tags, now Mbeumo has been priced at 50 to 60 million. 50 was the price tag in January. And it's now being talked about being 60 million. I'm guessing that's because Brentford have seen exactly what has happened with Bryan Mbeumo the rest of the season. He's continued his form on. No one came in for him in January. The reported fee was going to be about 50 million in January. I don't know why it would be any more now, because he's got 1 year left on his contract. He's another 6 months down on his contract. So I think Bryan Mbeumo's going to cost any Premier League club 50 million to take him out of Brentford. And he is going to move. It would be crazy to stay, and Brentford can't afford for him to stay because they'll lose him for nothing. And that'll happen the season after, unless he signs a new contract, of course, which apparently, by all accounts, is nowhere near happening at all for Bryan Mbeumo. So no real concern of him staying at Brentford. He is going to be available to somebody. We will see what happens with him though. But then Semenyo, now that has been priced up at 60 million. He is well and truly contracted in. I think Semenyo's contract runs out in 2029, I think, actually. So no drama, no concern at all for Bournemouth. It's not like their situation with Dean Howson, the centre-back who's got a release clause. Semenyo hasn't, but they want about 60 million because his contract has still got another 3 years to run, at least, with that extra year on top, taking him to 29, I think it is. So Semenyo, he brings a different type of game to Mbeumo, but both Premier League proven players. Both play in a system, I feel, that both play towards a way that Ruben Amorim would like them to work, I think, in Manchester United's side. I can see why he would go for Semenyo. I really can. And I can understand the admiration for him. I mean, I do like him. He is an absolute beast of a player. Rapid, quick, direct. And honestly, it's just something that we don't have in that position. If you're bringing in the likes of Cunha, obviously Cunha, he's quick. He's all right. He's not like Buddy Christie-style 100-metre sprint, but he brings a bit different. He brings a bit of control. And we've got that with Bruno as well already. We've got the skill and dynamism of Ahmad. We've got Cunha, who is just a controlling midfielder with the skill and composure, which nobody has got in Manchester United's front line. And just that right mentality. Then you've got that direct power pace of Semenyo on the other side. There's your different types. There's your options. You can change that up however you want. And this is all well talking about if this comes true, Manchester United do go into the market this strong, and they are willing to pay these fees. They can make it work. If we get into the Champions League, they don't feel like these fees are out of the way. Now, United will negotiate these transfer fees down. They will do. They may even negotiate them to a point where they're happy with that as long as they can do instalments, because instalments work for United going into next season's squad ratio changing rule for PSL, like we've discussed. They're not bothered. If they pay 60 million and that club's happy to take instalment payments with the wages United are clearing off the books, they can comfortably make financial fair play regulations without even getting anywhere near the danger zone. And so that's where Manchester United are at with it, and this is why they're willing to pay big, because they can afford it. And that's the difference in not being able to pay outright for a player or look like we're skint and we haven't got any money. Manchester United's revenues and losing wages off the wage bill, which we are going to do this summer, is going to help Manchester United afford to spread payments out for players. Let's not forget, we're getting payments coming in as well. And what's happening here as well, when you look at it, is the fact that Alvaro Fernandez is looking likely to leave. Mason Greenwood is looking likely to move. Two more 100% profit players for Manchester United with their sell-on clauses. You've got that to come in and that to come in. We're going to touch on Marcus Rashford in a minute. But the question I want to pose as well in this is, it's like if you have got Semenyo or Mbeumo, you've got Cunha, you've got Bruno, you've got Ahmad. Who misses out? Because then you've got Xerxes, Garnacho and Mason Mount. 3 other number 10s. That would leave Manchester United with 7 options in at number 10. 7. Now that is probably a little bit too much. I would love for Xerxes and Garnacho to still be there and be on the bench. What a great combination and great option to have to come on and change the game. Really would be brilliant. I just don't see it happening. And I also think the fact that Manchester United are going to be able to afford these players is down to the knowledge and, I think, clear vision of selling a couple of other players as well that some people might not like. Some people may think they need to keep hold of, like Garnacho and other players. Mason Mount. I don't think Mason Mount's going, by the way. But I think Mason Mount is quite happy where he is at the moment and coming in and fighting for his position in the team. We are going to sign Cunha. Matheus Cunha, by the way, and news has come out, the Muppeteers have said it. There was a meeting, and Ben Jacobs said it as well, a meeting with Arsenal. I've been told privately, and you've seen it by the Muppeteers as well, Matheus Cunha has told Manchester United he's moving to them. He prioritises United. Arsenal don't really stand the chance. They've gone in and they've tested it as you would. Andrea Berta, the director of football, at Arsenal, formerly of Atletico Madrid, where he worked with Cunha before and was part of selling him on to Wolves. He has made contact. The conversations have been had, but Cunha is still 100% guaranteed. And according to the Muppeteers, has told Manchester United that he is going to move there. He wants to move to Manchester United. That deal is happening. So United are bringing in Cunha in an already stacked area of 10s, what Manchester United have got on their roster, with Xerxes coming back, who isn't a 9. Garnacho cannot play at wing-back, he can only play at 10. One of them's going to have to drop at least. And Mason Mount there, you have got multiple options. And that is the beauty of it. That's the beauty of everything that Manchester United have got right now. And I think if we do go in with different options into next season in that 10 role, Manchester United will end up scoring more goals, because it's not just a one-trick pony. Like Ruben Amorim will be able to change shape, will be able to change personnel and the way that he wants to attack. And that, I think, is important for Manchester United, that the variety of attack, rather than being one-dimensional like we are now. But it does come down to Manchester United actually being able to secure another striker, because we know that Rasmus Hojlund, yes, he got his goal last night, but we all know the rest of his game was absolutely atrocious. He has got a touch like a trampoline, and he just doesn't look like he knows where to be. Credit to him for his last couple of goals. I said this morning. He was in the 6-yard box against Bournemouth to score, and he was last night, where you'd expect your number 9 to be. And credit to him for that. But honestly, the rest of his game, we are playing with 10 men when it comes to Rasmus Hojlund. He's just not good enough, and he's never going to be a number 1 striker at United. I would like to keep him and use him as a backup. I've not got a problem with that. If United can afford it and make it happen, then no issue at all. So it comes down to Liam Delap, because in the other part of that story from Sky, Liam Delap is another player that we already knew Man United wanted. Nearly every single journalist who has got anything about them has said that Liam Delap is Man United's top striker target. But we know that there's massive competition for him. And that's what leads us into the next section of where we're looking at right now. But I want to get some comments in, first of all, now from the live chat on the Mbeumo, Semenyo, Cunha Delap situation. We're going to move on to another player in just a moment. But first of all, on this, and how is everybody doing, by the way? Hopefully you've enjoyed your Friday. Weekend is here. Anybody going to West Ham? I'll see you there. Adam Xerxes can play false 9, and Amorim has played that at Sporting, but is he good enough to play false 9? I don't want a hybrid. I want a natural goal scorer. A false 9 doesn't work when you don't hit the back of the net. And that's, I mean, you're right. You're right, Gabe. Like, he could be an option. If you're playing an out-and-out number 9 and he's not doing it, a false 9 and someone different in Xerxes might work. So off the bench as a squad player, Xerxes, I get, yeah, I don't want to sell Xerxes either. I want to keep Xerxes. I think he has improved massively. And I tell you what, he'd have been starting all of these games ahead of Rasmus Hojlund, because the form that he was in before he got injured in that Newcastle game was definitely changing and turning Manchester United around. So, yes, I think Joshua Xerxes would have been ahead of Rasmus Hojlund at this point, and he'd have been getting game time. And I think Joshua Xerxes probably would have had an absolute barnstormer of an end to the season. So, yeah, I think that Joshua Xerxes can 100% play a role for Manchester United going forward, and some. I really do. And I think maybe false 9 might be the one for him. Let's see what we got. A few more comments coming in, please. Mount better than Nacho. Yep, I agree. Mason Mount is a better player than Garnacho in a Ruben Amorim system. Garnacho is always going to be a better winger than Mason Mount. It's just not that role that Ruben wants him to play. And that's why Mount is more effective for Ruben Amorim. Not taking anything away from Garnacho's natural ability on the wing, he's having to change his game to fit into Ruben's system, which is why, again, I keep on saying it. I do believe that Garnacho will go this summer. I just think it's just going to be too much for him. I don't think he's going to sit on the bench and see all these other players come in. I really don't. By the way, everybody, I will have a members video going out tonight as well. So if you are a member, a bit of behind the scenes from last night is coming out, the members video later on this evening. And just speaking of that, Modern Samurai has just dropped in 5 new memberships into the house. Thank you very much, my friend. I love that. And again, if you have been given one of them memberships, tune in later on. But first of all, make sure that you give Modern Samurai a big fat thank you in the live chat. If we have Champions League, we need 2 strikers and a lap and another, or Gyökeres, and keep Hojlund for a season and see if he can improve. If we cannot get another striker, we cannot afford to lose Rasmus Hojlund. As crazy as that sounds, we do need somebody to step in. Somebody has to come in for Rasmus Hojlund if we are going to get rid of him. You have to buy 2 or keep him, and Chido comes through as well. I would love for it to be Victor Gyökeres, More and more stories are coming out that Arsenal are further ahead in negotiations and perhaps he prefers a move to Arsenal. That has come out. So, yeah, I'm not, like I said, I don't give up on it, and I'm not giving up. It's not so much giving up. I don't think the Osimhen deal is dead in the water either. With Champions League football and that money, again, it just makes a huge difference for Manchester United's transfer funds. And I do believe that Manchester United will still be looking at Victor Osimhen. I think he's an option. I think every single striker is an option. I'm going to talk about another one in a minute and an update on another target United have been linked with before. Has anyone talked to that one? Adam, I must say, Kaz knows her stuff. I watched her interview, very knowledgeable. She is indeed, Rochelle. She is indeed. Kaz did her fan vlog last night, so make sure you go and watch that if you haven't already. Thoughts on the game last night, straight outside. Right, let's move on to that other news that I was talking about then, because we have got the Rashford update coming up as well, and what Romano said about his potential exit this summer. But before that, we're looking at the lap, and we said before, Semenyo, Cunha, and Mbeumo, all 10s, not 9s. Delap's the only 9 of any significant, concrete interest. Now, we have got them flating interest in Osimhen and Gyökeres, like I said, but Delap the only one. But as we know, like Ornstein, like Romano, like every single other journalist and reporter out there have all said, everybody wants Delap because he's 30 million quid. And there is a lot of interest. If United don't get Champions League, Delap is not coming. Again, go back to what I said a couple of days ago. Ruben Amorim coming out and saying he's not spoken to Gyökeres. If a player only wants to come to United because of the Champions League football, then he's not going to come to United. Liam Delap is exactly that player right now. So I don't get that situation in what Ruben says. It just doesn't match up, doesn't fit for me in terms of what Ruben's saying there. But look, if Delap doesn't come, where do United go? Gyökeres looks like he's preferring Arsenal all of a sudden. Osimhen, we don't know. But what about Hugo Ekitike from Frankfurt? Now, it has just been announced, well, not announced, but Fabrizio Romano has just come out these last few hours and said that Ekitike leaving Eintracht Frankfurt is 100% guaranteed. He's gone. He's going to help them qualify for the Champions League. Now, we thought Champions League football for Frankfurt would have helped them financially and not need to sell Ekitike. Obviously, they sold Mamouche to Manchester City in January, which was a massive, massive fee for them. On top of that, getting Champions League money, they are financially in a very, very good position. But Ekitike wants a move. And this is going to be interesting now because it looks like Premier League is his destination. So, United have been linked with Ekitike. He's another £60 million striker of that value. And Romano has said that he is definitely leaving. He wants to leave Frankfurt and he will leave at the end of this season. So, Hugo Ekitike all of a sudden, and now with these games coming to a close and everybody's seasons starting to be wrapped up, we're starting to get a little bit more news come out. And Romano has dropped a big one there. It may not be linked directly to anybody, but I feel like this is the most significant bit of news of the day so far. Because everything had gone quiet on Ekitike. And everybody thought that Frankfurt were going to be able to qualify for the Champions League. Obviously, Spurs knocked them out of the Europa League. So, no Europa League win and out you go. No Champions League football there. But they are positioned handily to actually qualify automatically in the Bundesliga. So, if they do, we thought it wasn't going to happen. But it now looks like, from what Romano says, Ekitike is gone. And it looks like the Premier League is his destination. Step up. Manchester United, a player that we will have to spend a lot of money on, but is probably one of the youngest of the strikers that United have actually been scouting and looking at alongside Delap. And so there is genuine interest for Ekitike from Manchester United. It's been well proven, and there is nothing in this report to say he's going United or any specific club, just that he's going. But I think it's key that we're talking about Ekitike because Romano pretty much saying that he is definitely leaving just puts everybody on full alert, and it makes you feel like something's already been done. This doesn't usually happen. All of a sudden, with 2 games left to play, all of a sudden a player is announcing that he's leaving. You need to know where you're going. If you're leaving, you would have already had contacts and have a good idea of where you're going. Yes, you can say you've got all summer, but let's not forget, Ekitike could be wanting to play in the Club World Cup. I don't know. I mean, that takes him out of United's reckoning anyway. But the transfer window opening on the 1st of June makes announcements like this from Romano really sink in and start to carry a little bit of weight, because Ekitike now leaving Frankfurt could be mopped up within the first couple of weeks of June by somebody else, because other teams have got money to spend. I think that is a signing that Manchester United would be all over if they can negotiate the right deal. And when we were talking like the other targets there that we said, Mbeumo, Semenyo, Cunha and Delap, if Delap doesn't work out, Gyökeres isn't ready to go to United after what Ruben said. Osimhen just wants too much money. Ekitike could slot right in there and be the next one on the list for Manchester United. That is exactly the type of player Manchester United would go for, I think, in terms of the age, the profile, the style. I just think it works for him. It's future-proofing for Ineos, I think, this. And this football structure and recruitment team will be looking at Ekitike and going, dear, but affordable, and it's the future. It's a very, very similar transaction to the likes of Lenny Yoro, spending big on a younger player, getting it in installments and it being affordable and not on absolute ridiculous wages. That's the difference. PSR is all about the wages, and the wages on top of a big fee cripple you, and that's what's happened to Manchester United so many bleeding times. Right, let's get a few more comments on this. Ekitike reminds me of Benzema, says Daniel. And Nico says, for F's sake, this club doesn't learn from their mistakes. We bought Hojlund for 70 million. Yeah, but Ekitike is a better striker. He's done it in a better league, harder league in my opinion, and scored a hell of a lot more goals to prove his worth. Semenyo had about 400 shots to 5 goals. Don't think it was 400, Michael, but get your point. You're not convinced. I hope Ineos is like a Father Christmas. June 1st, we open all our presents. Top signings, says Modern Samurai. Anthony says, if we're spending 60 million, then it's got to be the finished article like Gyökeres or Osimhen. If we get Champions League, then it has to be 2 as our main targets, as in Osimhen and Gyökeres. Are they the exact full package? Can't argue with a goal output. Experience in Champions League, experience in Europe. I agree. Like, if you're looking at a striker that's available this summer, then Gyökeres and Osimhen are top of your list. There's no beating them. But if, like Ruben says, and if Manchester United are nowhere near getting this deal done, or any chance of getting this deal over the line, then they have to look at other strikers. And Ekitike, I think, fits the bill. The bassist says, Sesko, any chance? Again, it's all going to come down to if United are in the Champions League, because Arsenal want Sesko. Arsenal have spoken to Gyökeres. They've also spoken to Osimhen, and they've spoken to Delap. Arsenal want a striker. So if they're in the Champions League, they're thinking they've got an advantage over a couple of other clubs at the moment, like Manchester United, for instance, who are not in the Champions League. But if United get in, it really is going to change a few players' minds as to where they go. Because Manchester United, if we're in the Champions League, means we would have won 3 trophies over the last 3 seasons, where Arsenal have won nothing, and United are still in the Champions League under a new manager, under a new structure, and under a new vision going forward, with major, major plans for the future. So it looks, all of a sudden, for Manchester United being a death sentence for players and coaches, to looking like you've actually got a future, and if you go off the last 3 years, pretty much a guaranteed winner's medal of some sort. And you can't deny what's happened. Like, we have won 3 trophies if we win this Europa League this season. And we will be back in the Champions League. It's mental. It really is. But that's the reality and what players are looking at. And their agents will look at this and go, there's bonuses in there. Big bonuses if you're winning trophies. And all of a sudden, it starts to look a little bit more appealing to be a Man United player ahead of everybody else that's on the market. And just because you're in the Champions League as well, it changes everything, and our players look at United and would look at United over other football clubs as well. Yeah, good in a Brentford model. Osimhen all day. Adam, no. Brian and Mbeumo, no. Semedo, one good season. Delap, yes. Out of them 3, Vlahovic, could we? Not Vlahovic. I don't think he's going to come, simply because of him. The last report I got from Vlahovic was the scouting report said he didn't fit what Ruben wanted. Now, I've said before that Vlahovic would fit nicely into Manchester United. If he was a cheap enough striker and he was willing to take a big pay cut, then I'd love to bring him in and one other. I ain't got a problem with that. But I think there was a report which said mobility-wise, United moved away from Vlahovic for that reason. I don't know if that is true, just what I've read anyway. Robert says, yeah, good. Oh, sorry, that's wrong. I just read that one out. Let's just say this. United winning the Europa League is a torpedo to Arsenal's boat. You might as well send about 3 or 4 torpedoes and just blow it up, mate, rather than letting them sink after one hits it. That's what this is for them. It would be absolute agony for Arsenal watching Manchester United lift that Europa League, because they know that even if Spurs win it, and how hard that will be to see Spurs win a trophy, going into next season, they're still going to pick Arsenal over Spurs, I think, in terms of what packages players get. If United are in the Champions League and they're competing alongside Arsenal, that is a nightmare scenario for them, because they know United have always got the capability of outbidding them and can actually generate more revenues, therefore being able to afford to pay that player a bigger salary than Arsenal. And I said it just a minute ago, United have got a track record of winning trophies over the last 3 years, and players will look at that. Look, what have you got to offer? Champions League football, so have they. What have you got to offer? Or this sort of money on this wage with these bonuses. Okay, so has United. What else have you got to offer? Well, we're looking to win a trophy. Well, they've won 3 in the last 3 years and are still in the Champions League. And going United, they're a bigger club anyway. That's the difference in having a Champions League qualification and not having a Champions League qualification. We still can buy players, like Cunha's coming to United without Champions League football. It's been made very, very clear. So we're not looking at it being the end of the world if we're not in Champions League next season, but it gives us a hell of a lot more money to spend and a little bit more scope on the quality of player we can actually attract and bring in. We need a known striker or one that's done it in the Prem. We can't be taking risks on random European one-season wonders or kids. That would be who in the Premier League? There's no one in the Premier League proven as a number 9. 10s we're getting. That's what we're looking at. I think we're getting the proven Premier League players as 10s. But that number 9 is going to prove to be a little bit of a stumbling block, it would seem, for Manchester United this summer. It really would. And that, I think, is going to be very interesting, how far they chase Delap, how much money they want to spend if they don't get Delap, because Delap definitely gives them a little bit more room in the transfer kitty. With that 30 million and wages that are affordable for him, again, though, you really are questioning whether Delap is actually good enough. I think it's Delap and one other. I'm still convinced that they're looking for 2 strikers. I really do. Thank you everyone who has liked the video already. Cheers very much. Nearly up to 200 already. If you do love the content, please pop a like on the video. Nearly said video on the like again then. Keep saying that at the moment. Tongue twisted. I think it's because United actually winning and scoring goals. I'm coming off the back of watching a game at Old Trafford with goals in it again. It just feels like a weird feeling. So excuse me if I get a bit confuddled with all of the words every now and then while live. But yeah, this is what this is what United do to you. It's been a long season. It's like I've only got 2 more weeks to survive. It feels good. It does, because then I want to look forward to. Actually getting into the summer and knowing exactly what Manchester United are doing. That's what I'm looking forward to. The next phase under Ruben Amorim. Please fast forward it. Right. Let's just get through a few more comments on this, and then we can move on to the next story. Right. What have we got in here right now? United Spotlight says, rather have Mateta or Evan Nielsen, Delap, any of that type. That's a random from European, a random from Europe. If we can't get Osimhen or Gyökeres, right? So Gyökeres and Osimhen are not randoms. Would you not take Ekitike then, Carl? No, not convinced by him. I'm guessing from that. A lot of top clubs are searching for a small group of top strikers. Don, yep, problem. We just need ball carriers, goal scorers, and a keeper that can stop the hard stuff. And Arna last night, that was pitiful. It really was. Shameful, in fact. In terms of that ball carrying midfielder, we've talked about Edison, are plenty, obviously, from Atalanta. No updates on him, but TalkSport are talking up Jobe Bellingham to Manchester United. Now, that news has come out in the last few hours as well. Now, they're just saying that he's on Manchester United's list, but again, I think what this is just a sign of what is coming. Now, Sunderland obviously are in the playoffs, and now TalkSport are covering the playoffs. And of course, if there is a big player playing in that, and that player is linked to a massive football club like United, then they're going to pop that news out that everybody already knows, that Jobe Bellingham is on Manchester United's radar. But Sunderland are playing in the Championship playoffs, and they're just trying to drag in a little bit more attention. Draw attention to Jobe Bellingham and these playoffs. Come and listen in. Come and watch these playoffs. That's basically what that is. It's all for the views. But we know that Jobe Bellingham, everybody's going to be watching these playoffs. Big stage for him. Probably the biggest stage that he's going to play at in his career so far. Trying to get Sunderland into the Premier League. That alone could scupper that deal. Jobe Bellingham already being in the Premier League. Sunderland not really needing to sell him. Or he's not wanting to move on to better things. Maybe he'll want to stay with Sunderland for another year and try it out in the Prem and then move on. So there's another midfield target gone possibly. But yeah, TalkSport are saying Manchester United are interested in Jobe Bellingham. We know this already. It's nothing news, but because they're announcing it, well, not announcing it, because they're talking about it, I'm just bringing it out to you guys again just to say, look, he's playing this week. Go and watch him. Go and see what you think. It's a big game, obviously. Playoffs are massive. 130 million on the line. And you can see the pressure situation just in the Sheffield United and Bristol game last night, and that one red card and what the playoffs can do. So yeah, if you're looking for some entertainment, probably the playoffs is the place to be watching. Definitely from that, well, it's going to be better than the Premier Leagues anyway, God's sake. There's not much really to watch. But yes, that's Jobe Bellingham. That's the midfield situation. I want to move on to Marcus Rashford and what Fabrizio Romano has said regarding our man Marcus Rashford. So, situation is Barcelona tried to get Marcus Rashford in January. Romano has said this. He has said it on his own YouTube channel. They wanted him in January. They couldn't get rid of Ansu Fati, and that's why Rashford ended up going to Villa in the latter stages of the window. Thank you, Emery. Thank you for taking Marcus Rashford, but he has used him as a stopgap. Romano has said, going to be interesting to see what the situation is. Villa have a buy clause. It's not going to happen. It looks like Rashford's got his heart set on Barcelona. Manchester United are going to be asking for the right price from Barcelona. Barcelona, according to Fabrizio Romano, see Marcus Rashford as a versatile forward that they can utilise in their team. He can play at 9, he can play wide, left or right, and he can cover a few different positions. They are admirers of Marcus Rashford, and they will go back in for him in the summer, dependent on their own financial situation. Obviously, Champions League guaranteed next season. They're probably going to win La Liga as well. And there is a few players in there that could possibly be moving out. We talked about Rafinha and what his next destination is going to be. Lewandowski's not getting any younger, and the fact that they've come out and said, and Romano has said, that Marcus Rashford fits a few different positions for them, it kind of makes you think that this one actually could happen and might be the right time for him to go. But we've had a lot of reports coming out that Barcelona are trying to knock down the price of Marcus Rashford. Well, you can stick that where the sun don't shine. That's not going to happen. They're going to have to pay up. They're going to have to pay Marcus Rashford. Are going to have to pay Marcus Rashford's fee and what Manchester United want, because we know that Ruben Amorim isn't really bothered about leaving Marcus Rashford out. Whether or not he will feel pressured into playing him or trying to sell him cheap, then that's up to Ineos. Ruben Amorim, as we've known from this season, isn't bothered about Rashford doing nothing. Not even training with Manchester United. Doesn't care. The relationship is dead. Ineos have got a bit of a problem. And it's alright coming out and saying that you want this and this fee. Barcelona, they're savvy. They know exactly what they're doing. And they know the predicament Manchester United are in. Rashford has already said that he will drop his wages to move to Barcelona. So if that is the case, they know that they've got Rashford. And now they're just going to look to try and knock that price down on Manchester United. And they're in the power play position right now, Barcelona. They're the ones that hold the cards, because Rashford wants to go. We know that Amorim's not going to play him, and we know that Ineos need to get Rashford off the books and raise funds to back Ruben Amorim. So Barcelona are going to come in and just sit this one out. I can see Rashford being another saga going into the summer. Not what we needed. And it depends on Ineos, this, and it depends what they want to do. Do they want to go all in and just get rid of him and take what they can and just get this headache out of the way? £20 million a year in wages off the books, a transfer fee, 100% profit for Manchester United, which goes a long way, and he's gone. Problem out the door. Then move on to Sancho, move on to Antony. You'll get probably more money out of them too. Well, more money, but obviously not as much profit, because Rashford is 100% profit. But still, that's the situation with Marcus Rashford. I mean, anyone in the chat, do you think that you could see Marcus Rashford actually going to Barcelona? It's looking more and more likely. I mean, he's a perfect fit. I'd love for him to go there and then just be sat on the bench constantly because he's not good enough to play under Hansi Flick. I get that you've had Rafinha go there from Leeds. You wouldn't have thought that that would have turned out the way it did. He turned into an absolute world-beating player. I mean, he was good at Leeds. But to go to Barcelona and do just as good, if not better, and his stats and numbers do speak volumes, maybe this could happen to Marcus Rashford? I don't know. I honestly don't know. How long's a piece of string? It could be anything with him. But does anyone think that he can go to Barcelona? Let's get into some comments on this. Rashford willing to accept lower wages, but will still try and squeeze United for every penny. The fallout with Man United is real. While Ruben Amorim is in situ, Marcus Rashford has no way back to Manchester United. That has been made abundantly clear, and the relationship is dead. So he does need to find himself another club. And I've said this also before, that Rashford wants to be in Tuchel's 2026 World Cup squad. And that's the problem for him on his side. United may just call his bluff and say, well, we'll sit on it. You're not going to play. You're not going to get into the England squad. Tell Barcelona it's this fee, and then you can move. Maybe you should drop your wages even more, and just to counter that and what it's going to cost them on instalment payments. I don't know. Man United do have a little play on this, in that Rashford wants to be part of Tuchel's team. And if he comes to United, he doesn't stand a chance of being in Tuchel's 2026 World Cup team for England over in the USA. Not a chance that that is going to happen. So, yeah, it's up to Marcus, I think, as well here. Ineos and Marcos. Ineos and Marcus, bit of a standoff in terms of what Marcus Rashford is willing to do with his wages and wait out, knowing that Barca is the only place he wants to go, and Barca are going to try and get a deal done with United, or the fact that United are going to stand there and just say, look, go on then. We're not letting you go unless it's this fee. Don't play in the World Cup. They're the two attacks coming together. And that's what I think, that's why I think, the saga will run on this summer. There's plenty of time for Rashford to move to Barcelona. I just don't want to see him in another new United shirt, honestly, in a pre-season. He's just a headache. Ruben would even say, I don't even want him on tour. That's what Ruben would say. Don't want him on tour. And then it just starts to get really awkward. And that probably, in the end, pushes a situation, or it develops quicker because both parties want this nightmare over. That's what I think it brings on anyway. Let's get a few more. Blades are too big for Bristol, even though I think they go right down again, like the ones this season. It's been a shocker, hasn't it? Surprised he doesn't want a move to PSG. He's perfect backup for Dembele. Rashford sees himself as a number one striker or a number one forward. That's the problem we've got. He actually thinks he's better than what he is. And for Manchester United, that's a bit of a problem. It really is. Just to recap for everybody who has just joined us, thank you. Almost at 250 likes, by the way. For a Friday evening show, that's mega. Because I know you're all probably sat outside having a drink right now, enjoying yourselves and catching up watching this later on. So thank you if you have given us a live like. If you haven't already and you're watching it back, if you love it, put a thumbs up on the video. Thank you, everyone. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Also, while you are in the room, again, don't forget, Match Bingo weekend is here for all us FUTVers, everybody. Match Bingo are our match day sponsors, bringing the bingo hall to the Premier League. United versus West Ham this weekend. Last month, we handed out £500 to FUTV subscribers playing this very game. All you do is use the QR code on the screen, download the app, or click on the link in the description. That will be in the live chat as well. You get your match card. You pick United v West Ham. You get 15 match events. Could be throw-ins, goals, everything. Get a line. You get point. You get wins. You get money. Get another line. You get another cash prize. They're usually 25 quid a piece for just a line. And if you get the jackpot, all 15 events could be up by 300 quid for a £2 card. Get your cards now. Download the link in the description. That is our FUTV link right there. We are also planning a bit of a bonanza for the last game of the season as well with Match Bingo, where we're going to guarantee someone from FUTV gets a prize again. We have done this a couple of times. You're missing out if you haven't already downloaded the app. Get onto it. It's dead easy. Don't have to do anything but pick your match card. And that's it. The game does the rest for you. And it ticks it off like you're in a bingo hall. Love it. It's an easy game, and I'm just happy that we've had quite a lot of winners here on Forever United TV as well. But yeah, again, thank you, Match Bingo, for being the sponsors of Forever United TV on the match days. Absolutely love it. Anyway, moving forward and into the roundup, I did just say then we'll recap on everything. Manchester United want Liam Delap and Matheus Cunha, and one of Nelson Semenyo and Brian Mbeumo from Bournemouth and Brentford respectively. We talked through it earlier on, and Mbeumo's rated about 5th there. Similar price for Semenyo. Who would you pick? That's what we were asking earlier on, but Sky came out with that. United want 3 forwards and are prepared to pay big for them forwards. No problem on them price tags. All reasonable. Players at the right age for Manchester United, fitting the profile, and all of them to fit into Ruben Amorim's 3-4-3 formation. We want 2 10s and a 9, apparently, according to Sky. That was their report. Ekitike is definitely leaving Frankfurt, which has put all of the Premier League clubs on high alert because he wants a Premier League move. Rated about 60 million, United have a lot of interest in Ekitike, and that's why I'm talking about this. Romano has said this. He's not picked out one particular club in his report, but United are following him, and he has announced that he is leaving Frankfurt at the end of this season. Marcus Rashford wants Barcelona. Barcelona want him, and Romano has said that they tried to get him in January and will come back in for him this summer. All depends on what fee Manchester United demand from Barcelona. Marcus Rashford's wages, apparently he's willing to cut them to move to Barcelona. That is his dream move. Romano did say, let's see what happens with Villa, but I think everybody's knowing right now that Aston Villa are way out of the equation. We talked on Jobe Bellingham. We've talked sports saying that Manchester United are gaining more and more interest in him. We know about that already. Man United, if they get into the Champions League, will probably buy 3 forwards and a number 8. They're key positions for Ruben Amorim and this system that he wants to play. Fitch Nutrition in with a super chat. Football League final. Do you believe players have got it in them for the win? Rooney and Carragher on overlap, shutting down Spurs' hopes in the win. Europa League final. I think United will win it. Law of averages would say we beat Spurs at one point this season. We can't be losing a 4th straight game in one season to Spurs and it being the worst one of all. Look, I think they've got a lot of players back now. I looked at their team that played against Bodo Glimt. Very strong for them. And it is going to be a tough game for Manchester United. It's hard to call. I just think Manchester United have got that final experience which is going to hold them in good stead going into this game. And I do think it's Manchester United's game. I do. I think we will win the final, and I think Ruben will be picking up that Europa League trophy in his first season. What a first season that would have been. With all of the carnage and absolute shite, that's the best way we can describe it, of the Premier League, we go on this massive unbeaten run in Europe and pick up a trophy and get ourselves into the Champions League next season. Like, no one would have predicted it. I remember when I was saying, like, I expect Ruben to get these players to top 4. Christ! What was I thinking? God, I got shut up straight away, didn't I? Another super chat in from Fitz. Thank you, mate. Rooney and Jamie Carragher talking about how hard Manchester United's fixture have been to the final, and United find a way. Yeah, United have had the toughest run, I think, in the Europa League. Some of the away games that we've had against some teams that are excellent at home, like Sociedad and Bilbao and Lyon, and then you look at Porto and Fenerbahce in the group stages. We've already beaten Bodo Glimt, that we were in the semi-final as well. Like, we have had a phenomenal run in the Europa League. It has been exceptional for Manchester United. It really has. 14 games, 35 goals scored. United are good in Europe. I know it's a Premier League side, and you've got that to worry about. But yeah, thanks for the super chats, Fitz Nutrition. Cheers for that, buddy. Please give the video a like on before we finish up, everybody. We're nearly at that 300 live like mark. You are all absolutely epic people, and I love you all. And that pretty much rounds up our show for the evening, everyone. It's Friday night. The weekend is here. Premier League football is back tomorrow. I'm back at 8 o'clock with your morning update show, where we'll be going over all of the news tonight and how it develops in other media circles throughout the night, as it always does, and getting us prepared for another game. Ruben Amorim, I don't know who he's going to play or how he's going to play the West Ham game, but look, we've got to get it done. And a win would be nice for the Manchester United faithful in the Premier League. Like, the last game we won was Leicester. Yeah, just a win, please. That would be good. Cheers, everybody. Absolutely epic week. It is all over, and we start a fresh weekend tomorrow. Thank you, mods, for another brilliant job in the show today and throughout the week. That's me for tonight. I will see you all in the morning, like I said. Please do give the video a like, and make sure you hit that subscribe button as well on the way out. So everybody, keep you up to date with all Manchester United.